Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and on today's show, I'm going to be looking at the biggest winners and losers from Raiders OTAs. Now, we're only through the first part of Raiders OTAs, I guess is the way that you would say it. So this is a so far ranking. I'm going to give you the 5 biggest winners, 5 biggest losers based off of people who I've talked to, from what I've seen, and the latest reports. The reason why, again, it's so far is because this is the first part. So I'm only judging off of what I saw from May 23rd, May 24th, and May 26th. You still got OTAs from June 1st to June 3rd, the 13th and the 14th. Then I'm going to do winners and losers from mandatory minicamp, training camp. It's part of the job that I have here at Chat Sports to be able to go ahead and give you guys the information about everything going on this entire offseason. To make sure that you never miss any Raiders Report videos, subscribe. Join the family. The Raiders Report is a family here. Why? Raider fans have taught me, you don't got to be blood to be family. You don't got to, as long as you bleed silver and black, that's good enough for me. So turn on your notification bell. You see this little bell here? Just, tickle a little bit. And then click all. That way you never miss anything. I promise you, I got you guys up to date the entire offseason. Let's first go to the early OTA winners. The first name that I'm going to go up and bring up here is Nate Hobbs, and these guys are not ranked in any particular order. The reason why Hobbs is going to be making my list is because from what I have heard, the players that I've talked to, Hobbs has been impressing early on. And this is good news because when you have a rookie come in and he can do what Hobbs does, which is be very impressive in year one, you're hoping that he can continue to build on it. And I'm not going to put the amount of pressure that, maybe some people put on Crosby, but Crosby's rookie season, everyone was anticipating him to take that next step and be great. Crosby might have taken a little bit of a step back. I'm hoping that Hobbs can continue to get better. But you could see early on his athleticism and the fact that they're willing to potentially put him not only at corner, coaches have talked about outside corner and at safety. That tells me that they already see how athletic Nate Hobbs truly is. Let's go to the next winner here. It's Kolton Miller. And one of the biggest discussion points of this Raiders offseason is, what's the offensive line looking like? You know what? I don't have a great answer on that because I really truly believe it can change week to week. One thing that I know that's locked and loaded, Kolton Miller going to be your starting left tackle. Josh McDaniels said that he's one of the hardest workers on the team, and I actually think it's one of the biggest reasons why when Miller was drafted in the first round out of UCLA back in 2018, he had a bad year. Now, sure, he had a lot of injuries. Year 2 got a little bit better. Year 3 got better. Year 4, legit. Now you're hoping that he can take that next step and he can be a top 5 left tackle. And I'm hoping with his work ethic, with his athleticism, you combine that with the offensive line coach and Carmen Rosillo, that Miller's going to be able to be a top 5 left tackle in the National Football League. So here's your opportunity, though. You guys can go ahead and tell me, can Kolton Miller be a top 5 left tackle, type T5 for top 5, or type N5 for not top 5? I'm going to be looking, see what you guys have to say in the comments section. The next player coming up here is a dude who I continue to hype up time and time again. It's Dylan Parham, the Raiders' first pick in this year's draft, number 90 overall in the 3rd round. I got him listed as an offensive lineman because he's been working not only at offensive guard, but obviously at center as well. When I hear coaches hyping him up, not only coaches, but also players, there has been 2 players that I have talked to, or at least that I have heard from, that have been very impressed by his intelligence, have been very impressed on his ability to absorb content. And absorbing the information is great, but not only being able to absorb it, he wants to go out and he wants to learn more. When I watch his tape tells me everything, where he is picking up plays very, very quickly. So if you have an intelligent player, who I do believe is a very athletic player, that's what I'm hoping for. And you're hoping that he can get out there and start right away. If he gives the Raiders the best opportunity to play center, he's going to play center. If the Raiders think that his best opportunity is to play guard, he'll play guard. I really, truly believe you're looking at a starter and an up-and-coming Pro Bowler for the Silver and Black. The next OTA winner, he's not a player, but I got to give some flowers here to Josh McDaniels because, yes, there was a lot of talk always around Gruden and Mayock saying that they want guys who are which every coach does, Gruden grinders or this and that, I have already been able to tell from the reports and from what I've seen and heard that the practice organization is way better than it was before. On top of that, McDaniels wants people to take accountability. So there was a story that came out last week that the Raiders lined up incorrectly in the red zone, which we all know is definitely a major area that the Raiders need to go ahead and improve on. They lined up wrong, and then they ran a lap. It later came out that the Raiders players were the ones that wanted to run the lap. Why? Because they understand and they recognize that they need to be more accountable. Yes, these are millionaires, but you know what? They're also men, and they need to act like men. So when you do something wrong, admit to it. And if that means running a lap in the red zone, I like it a lot. Players are hungry to compete. Players want to show these new coaches that, hey, I deserve to be on this team. There was a different sense in the air in Las Vegas. There's also a different sense in the air in New England. Look at the reports coming out of New England. There's been multiple players that are saying they're a little bit worried. Why? Because Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are doing a lot, and they're doing a lot right now for the Raiders. So if you like what Josh McDaniels has done so far, I'm talking about the entire offseason. Trades, signings, the draft, and already the early reports. Like the video right now to show Josh McDaniels that man has done a good job. The final OTA winner that I'm going to go ahead and bring up here on the Raiders Report is Derek Carr. And not that I have actually seen or heard DC play or practice, but I know this. When McDaniels was talking about Colin Kaepernick, McDaniels said, it's Carr's team. Davante Adams, he looks, not to sound weird, he looks really good in a Raiders uniform, man. So not only do you have DC getting his, we'll say, flowers from McDaniels, Davante's out there. Darren Waller saying he wants to have the concentration on the field. You got Hunter Renfrow. This offense is looking fun. It looks like it could be special. And DC just got a big old fat contract. Also, he posted a picture the other day on Instagram. Dude's got like an 8-pack. So DC looks like he's an early OTA winner. There's no doubt about it. Before I get into my OTA losers so far, Locals is about connecting with diehard Raider fans. If you're a diehard fan, you bleed silver and black, I want you to go ahead and scan this QR code right here. I give you at least one live every single week, 2 exclusive videos. We do posts. We do polls. I essentially take extra time out of my week to make sure that people over on Locals know that I see them, I hear them, and I can answer their questions, their comments a lot quicker. So please join our community. Over 1,000 Raider fans over there already. RaidersReport.locals.com. I know what we do here on YouTube, but what we do over there is really special. And with the more and more DMs I get, if you DM me on Locals, I respond to it as quick as I humanly possibly can. Why? Because that's what Locals is about. Seriously, scan the QR code, join the community over there. All right, y'all, it's time now to go to the OTA losers. And I hate giving out losers because you don't really have that much information, right? You're basing it off of 3 days. 3 days of practice, the players that I've talked to, and then the reports that have come out essentially from 1 day. So, again, I'm doing my best that I can here. So, Andre James, he's early on loser. He is the starting center if the season were to start right now. But Dylan Parham has really, really been impressing from everyone that I've talked to. I've also heard that if Andre gets beat out by Parham at center, there have been some speculation that he could potentially line up as an offensive guard. He's 6'4", he's 300 pounds. He did play a little bit of guard at UCLA, but the reason why I love Parham is he's versatile. Not that Andre James isn't. He can play tackle, he can play center, he can play guard. But right now, the early reports around Parham make me believe that the tape backs it up, which means he's just a superior player than James. The next OTA losers, I'm going to bulk in the backup quarterbacks. You probably understand where I'm going with this one. Sorry, Jared Stidham. Sorry, Nick Mullins. Sorry, Chase Garbers. But if the Raiders are legitimate about bringing in Colin Kaepernick, you have to sit there and think, okay, there's multiple reasons why you do this. From a football standpoint, it's because you don't have a lot of confidence in the guys that are already in the room. Not only did they bring him in on a visit, apparently the visit went well. And apparently that the door has been left open. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to go out and make the move. But if he comes in, it's just more competition. And Nick Mullins, Jared Stidham, I can make the argument that they might be better passers at this current time. But neither of the quarterbacks on the roster, hell, not even Derek Carr, is the athlete that Kaepernick is. And if this Raiders team wants to bring in a package where they can use a mobile quarterback, I would say, why not try to keep Mariota? However, If Kaepernick comes in, it's obviously going to bring a lot of attention. It's obviously going to bring in more competition for some of these backup QBs. The next early OTA loser I'm going to bring up here is Brandon Parker. And a lot of times when you see OTA reports come out, I like to think of this time as hype season, right? Best shape of life season. And usually when reports come out, it's on the good side. You don't usually hear too much bad. Why? Because NFL teams don't want that to get out. So the fact that I really haven't heard anything about Brandon Parker, and I've heard a lot about Alex Leatherwood working with the offensive tackles, tells me that I believe that most of the concentration this offseason has been more on getting Alex Leatherwood acclimated to be a tackle, to be on the right side, because you know Kolton Miller is going to play left, and less on Parker. Do I believe that the Raiders paid Parker to potentially be a starter? Yes, but they essentially gave him $2.5 million. He can make up to 3.5 if he plays more, but if you were to give a swing tackle, which is what Parker could be, to play left or right tackle in case somebody goes down, $2.5 million I do think is a adequate amount of money. But the fact that Leatherwood could start at right tackle, and I've been told this, that tells me that that's the concentration, and Parker, for that reason, is a loser. So a few days ago on the Raiders Report, I broke down some potential right tackles because you could look at Brandon Parker. You could look at Alex Leatherwood, Denzel Good, Dylan Parham. He's played a little bit of right tackle as well. The Raiders want the 5 best offensive linemen out there. That's what they want, and then they believe that Carmen Russillo is going to be good enough to make sure they all work together. Jermaine Illuminor, another player to definitely not sleep on. So let me know, who's going to start at right tackle for the Raiders? Same thing kind of what I was talking about Parker is why I'm going to list Johnathan Abram here as a loser as well. Haven't heard much about him. And I've heard a lot more about other safeties, and in particular, 2 safeties that I have gotten some remarks on. Deron Harmon, I heard that he's already showing some leadership. He's showing his vocal, and he's showing that he understands what Patrick Graham and Josh McDaniels are looking for. And that's important. He's a good veteran. I've also heard that coaches like Tyree Gillespie's versatility, which is interesting to me because he didn't practice on Thursday. So what I'm going to consider is they went back, they looked at his tape at Missouri. They're like, this is a player who we could see being very good. I also sit there and I think, all right, well, the Raiders got 8 safeties in the room right now, which that tells me they're not 100% confident on many of the safeties they have in the room, or at least some of the starters. They're trying to go ahead and bring in some new guys. Also, the fact that Nate Hobbs could work at safety, it was a typo that the Raiders put out on Thursday in terms of the practice report. But I've also been told that Nate Hobbs could legitimately play a little bit of safety. Why? Because the Raiders want to put out 5 really good corners on certain packages. And if Nate Hobbs is a top 5 corner on the roster, which he is, that might mean that he has to line up a little bit in a safety type role. The final loser here, and I'm telling y'all straight up, man to man, man to woman, whoever's watching, this is a little bit of an overreaction, but you know what? Sometimes that's what you got to do here in the offseason. And I'm going to throw out Josh Jacobs' name because he has yet to participate in drills. And I want to see Josh out there. He's going to be this top running back. When you look at the way the Raiders handled this offseason, drafting Zamir White, drafting Britton Brown, they did try to sign Sincere McCormick. They've turned down Jacobs' 5th-year option. With all the injury concerns that Jacobs has had, why is he not out there? Does he need to be? No. And I get that. And that's part of what OTAs is about. Some players who think that they have a spot locked and loaded, they don't need to go out there. And I agree with that. However, I would like to see Josh Jacobs out there. If they're trying to rest him, again, I get it. But I think everyone watching right now knows the Raiders, if they can take that next step, if that offensive line's legit, and if Jacobs looks the way he did at the end of last season and not the way he did in the beginning, then this offense is going to be very, very special. And that's all I want it to be at the end of the day. So again, guys, it's the offseason. It's OTAs time. I'm going to make sure I keep you guys up to date on everything going on around Raiders OTAs, mini camp, training camp. If something happens this offseason, I'll let you know. Hit me up, IG, Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365, because believe it or not, I can't make a video about literally everything that happens during the offseason. So one more time, here are the early OTA winners and losers for the silver and black. The guys in green are the winners. The dudes in red are the losers. If you want to go ahead and take a screenshot, post this out there on those social media channels, just make sure you tag me. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because I appreciate it. I'll see you guys later on tomorrow for a Raiders live show, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you turn on those notifications.